1 Kings chapter 11 Solomon's wives. King Solomon loved many foreign women besides the daughter of Pharaoh. There were Moabite, Ammonite, Edomite, Sidonian, and Hittite women from nations about which the Lord had commanded the Israelites, "You shall not marry them, nor shall they marry you, lest they win over your heart to their gods." Solomon, however, clung to these people because of his love. He had 700 wives of royal birth and 300 concubines, and they turned his heart away. In Solomon's old age, his wives led him astray to serve other gods, and unlike his father David, his heart was no longer wholly given to the Lord his God. For he served Astarte, the goddess of the Sidonians, and Milcom, the idol of the Ammonites. He did what displeased the Lord, and unlike his father David, was unfaithful to the Lord. Solomon even built a high place for Chemosh, the idol of Moab, on the mountain east of Jerusalem, and also for Molech, the idol of the Ammonites. He did the same for all his foreign wives who burned incense and sacrificed to their gods. The Lord became angry with Solomon because his heart had turned away from the Lord, the God of Israel. The Lord appeared to him twice and commanded him not to follow other gods, but he did not obey the Lord's command. Therefore the Lord said to Solomon, "Since this has been your choice, and you have kept neither my covenant nor the statutes I commanded you, I will tear the kingdom from you and give it to your servants. Nevertheless, I will not do this during your lifetime for the sake of your father David. I will take it out of the hand of your son, but I will not take the whole kingdom from him. I will reserve one tribe for your son for the sake of David my servant, and for the sake of Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen." Solomon's enemies. And the Lord raised up an adversary against Solomon. This was Hadad, the Edomite of the royal house of Edom. Indeed, when David had defeated Edom and Joab, the commander of the army, went up to bury the slain, he slew every male in Edom. Joab and the Israelites remained in the place for 6 months until he had destroyed every male in Edom. However, Hadad, then only a boy, fled to Egypt together with some Edomites, his father's servants. They left Midian for Paran, and taking along with them some of the men from Paran, they went on to Egypt to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, who gave Hadad a house, provided him with food, and gave him land. Hadad pleased Pharaoh, who gave him as wife the sister of Queen Taphines, his sworn wife. The sister of Taphines bore him a son, Genubath, whom Taphines weaned in Pharaoh's house, and who lived there with Pharaoh's children. And so when Hadad heard in Egypt that David had slept with his fathers, and that Joab, the commander of the army, was also dead, he said to Pharaoh, "Let me go back to my own country." Pharaoh asked him, "What have I not done that you will want to live for your own country?" "Nothing," he answered, "but let me go." And he came back to his land. He ruled over Edom and hated Israel. God raised up another adversary against Solomon in the person of Rezon, son of Eliada, who had fled from his master Hadadezer, king of Zobah. Rezon gathered men around him and became the leader of a marauding band. After David fought them and killed some of them, they went to live in Damascus, where they made him king. He was an adversary of Israel during Solomon's lifetime. Division of the kingdom foretold. Jeroboam also rebelled against the king. He was the son of Nebat, an Ephraimite of Zerata. His mother Zeruah was a widow. He was one of Solomon's officials. This was the reason for his rebellion. Solomon was building the millow and closing up the breach of the city of David his father, when he noticed that Jeroboam was a man of great ability as a worker. So he put him in charge of all the forced labor of the tribes of Joseph. Once when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, the prophet Ahijah of Shiloh found him on the road. The prophet was wearing a new garment, and the two of them were alone in the open country. Then Ahijah clutched the new garment he was wearing and tore it into 12 pieces. He then said to Jeroboam, "Take 10 pieces for yourself, for this is the word of the Lord, the God of Israel. I am about to tear the kingdom from Solomon's hands to give you 10 tribes. Only one tribe shall be left to him for the sake of my servant David and Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. For Solomon has forsaken me and worshipped Astarte, the goddess of the Sidonians, Chemosh, the god of Moab, and Milcom, the god of the Ammonites. Unlike his father David, he has not walked in my ways to do what is right before me and to keep my commandments and statutes. Nevertheless, it is not from him that I will take the kingdom. I will let him reign during his lifetime for the sake of my servant for the sake of David my servant, whom I chose and who kept my commandments and statutes. But I will take the kingship from his son's hand and make you king over 10 tribes. One tribe will be left for his son, so that my servant David may always have a lamp before me in Jerusalem, the city where I have chosen to put my name. I will let you reign over all you wish. You shall be king of Israel. Now if you obey all that I command you, follow me and do what is right in my eyes, and if you keep my commandments and my statutes as my servant David did, I will be with you and establish your family for a long time. As I did for David, I will entrust Israel to you. In this way I will humble the family of David for a time." Solomon wanted to kill Jeroboam, but Jeroboam escaped to Egypt, to Shishak, king of Egypt, where he remained until the death of Solomon. Now the rest of the events of Solomon's reign, his deeds and his wisdom are written in the book of the Acts of Solomon. Solomon reigned over all Israel in Jerusalem for 40 years. Then he rested with his fathers and was buried in the city of David his father. Rehoboam his son succeeded him to the throne. 1 Kings chapter 12. The political schism. Rehoboam went to Shechem because all Israel had gathered there to make him king. When Jeroboam son of Nebat heard of this in Egypt, where he had fled from King Solomon and where he still remained, he returned from Egypt. They called for him, and he came with all the assembly of Israel. The people of Israel went to Rehoboam with this demand: "Your father make our yoke heavy, so now lighten the heavy yoke and the hard labor your father imposed on us, and we will serve you." Rehoboam answered them, "Leave now, but come back to me on the 3rd day." And so the people went their way. King Rehoboam sought advice from the elderly counselors who had served his father Solomon while he was alive, and he asked them, "How would you advise me to answer these people?" To this they replied, "If you attend to these people today, making yourself their servant, and speak to them with good words, they will serve you forever." But Rehoboam disregarded the advice of the old counselors and asked the opinion of the young men who had grown up with him and were in his service. He asked them, "What answer do you advise me to give to these people who tell me, 'Lighten the yoke which your father imposed on us'?" The young men who had grown up with him answered, "Since these people said to you, 'Your father make our yoke heavy, but you should lighten it for us,' tell them this: My little finger is thicker than my father's waist. My father laid a heavy yoke on you, but I will make it heavier yet. My father chastised you with whips, but I will fix iron points to the lashes." On the 3rd day, Jeroboam, together with the people, went back to Rehoboam, just as the king said, for he had said to them, "Come back to me on the 3rd day." Ignoring the advice given him by the elderly counselors, the king answered the people harshly in the way the young men had advised him. He said, My father made your yoke heavy, but I will make it even heavier. My father chastised you with whips, but I will fix iron points to the lashes. The king did not listen to the people. It was indeed the Lord who brought about these fateful events, fulfilling the word he had spoken to Jeroboam son of Nebat through Ahijah the Shilonite. All Israel realized that the king refused to listen to them, and they answered the same way. What have we to do with David? He is the son of Jesse from our tribes. Go back to your homes, O people of Israel. Let the son of David deal with his own. And so the Israelites left for their homes. Only the Israelites who dwell in the cities of Judah let Rehoboam reign over them. When Rehoboam sent Adoram, taskmaster of the forced labor, the Israelites stoned him to death, and King Rehoboam had to mount his chariot and flee to Jerusalem. So Israel had been in rebellion against the house of David to the present time. When the people of Israel heard that Jeroboam had returned, they called him to the assembly and made him king of Israel. And so, with the exception of the tribe of Judah, no one followed the house of David. When Rehoboam, son of Solomon, came to Jerusalem, he called together all the people of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, numbering 180,000 select warriors, to fight against the people of Israel in a bid to recover his kingdom. But the word of God was addressed to Shemaiah, the man of God. Give Rehoboam, son of Solomon, king of Judah, and all the people of Judah and Benjamin, and the rest of the people, this message from the Lord. You shall not go up to fight against your kinsmen, the Israelites. Let every man return to his home, for I have brought this about. When they heard this word, they went back home according to what the Lord had ordered. Jeroboam fortified Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim and lived there. Then he set out and fortified Penuel. The religious schism. Jeroboam thought to himself, the kingdom could return to the house of David. Should these people go up to offer sacrifices in the Lord's house in Jerusalem, their hearts would turn again to their master Rehoboam, king of Judah. They would kill me and go back to him. So the king sought advice and made 2 golden calves. Then he said to the people, You have been going up to Jerusalem long enough. Here are your gods, O Israel, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. He put one of these in Bethel, the other in Dan. And so Jeroboam made the people sin. The people went as far as Dan to worship the one there. Jeroboam also built temples on high places, appointing priests who were not from the Levites. Jeroboam also instituted a feast on the 15th day of the 8th month, in imitation of the feast in Judah, and he himself offered sacrifices on the altar. This he did in Bethel and sacrificed to the calves that he had made. They placed priests for the high places he had made. On the 15th day of the 8th month, the month which he had arbitrarily chosen, he ordained a feast for the Israelites and went up to the altar to burn incense. Psalm 138. With a grateful heart. I thank you, O Lord, with all my heart, for you have heard the words of my lips. I sing your praise in the presence of the gods. I bow down towards your holy temple and give thanks to your name for your love and faithfulness, for you have exalted above all things your name and your promise. You answered me when I called. You make me strong and bold. O Lord, all kings on earth who give you praise when they hear the words you have spoken. The ways of the Lord they will celebrate, for the glory of the Lord is great. From above the Lord watches over the lowly, but the haughty he regards from afar. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, you give me life. With outstretched arm you save me. You save me from the wrath of my foes. With your right hand you deliver me. The Lord will do everything for me. Your love, O Lord, endures forever. forsake not the work of your hands. John chapter 8, verse 28 to 59. So Jesus said, "When you have lifted up the Son of Man, then you will know that I am He, and that I do nothing of myself, but I say just what the Father taught me. The one who sent me is with me and has not left me alone. Indeed, I always do what pleases Him." The children of truth. As Jesus spoke like this, many believed in Him. Jesus went on to say to the Jews who believed in Him, "If you live in my word, you will indeed be my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." They answered Him, "We are the descendants of Abraham and have never been slaves to anyone. What do you mean by saying you will be set free?" Jesus answered them, "Truly I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave of sin. But the slave does not stay in the house forever. The Son stays forever. So if the Son makes you free, you will be really free." Jews are descendants of Abraham. "I know that you are the descendants of Abraham, yet you want to kill me because my word finds no place in you. For my part, I speak of what I have seen in the Father's presence, but you do what you have learned from your father." They answered him, "Our father is Abraham." Then Jesus said, "If you were Abraham's children, you would do as Abraham did. You want to kill me because I am the one who tells you the truth that I have learned from God. That is not what Abraham did, but you are doing the works of your father." The Jews said to him, "We are not illegitimate children. We have one Father, God." Jesus replied, "If God were your Father, you would love me, for I came forth from God, and I am here. And I did not come by my own decision, but it was He Himself who sent me. Why do you not understand my teaching? Is it because you cannot bear my message? You are of your father the devil, and you will carry out the evil wishes of your father, who has been a murderer from the beginning. He did not uphold the truth, for in him there is no truth. And now when he speaks for himself, he lies. He is a liar and the father of lies. Now I speak the truth, and you do not believe me. Which of you could convict me of sin? Then if I speak the truth, why do you not believe me? He who is of God hears the words of God. You do not hear because you are not of God." The Jews retorted, "So we are right in saying that you are Samaritan and are possessed by a demon." Jesus said, "I am not possessed, and you dishonor me when I give honor to my Father. I do not care about my own glory. There is one who cares for me, and he will be the judge. I am telling you the truth. If anyone keeps my word, he will never experience death." The Jews replied, "Now we know that you have a demon. Abraham died and the prophets as well, but you say, 'Whoever keeps my word will never taste death.' Who do you claim to be? Do you claim to be greater than our father Abraham? He is dead and the prophets too are dead." Then Jesus said, "If I glorify myself, it would count for nothing. But he who gives glory to me is the Father, the very one you claim as your God, although you do not know him. I know him, and if I were to say that I do not know him, I would be a liar like you. But I do know him, and I keep his word. As for Abraham, your ancestor, he looked forward to the day when I would come, and he rejoiced when he saw it." The Jews then said to him, "You are not yet 50 years old, and you have seen Abraham." And Jesus said, "Truly I say to you, before Abraham was, I am." Then they picked up stones to throw at him, but Jesus hid himself and left the temple.